Hey guys! So I'm in the middle of filming something else, but I thought I would quickly kind of change gears and film in the middle of filming. Really excited to start working on a very big filming project where I cheek swatch all of the things I got from the JACLYN Cosmetics Rouge Romance collection. So when she first announced the blushes and showed off the concepts, I was so excited because you guys can definitely see in my previous videos I love to over apply blush. So I bought a couple things from her collection, not too much. I want to cheek swatch literally everything. To show you guys what I got first off, and so this kind of confuses me because one of them is literally called Rouge Romance and the other is called Rouge Affair, but the text on the front says Rouge Romance for both one, so I'm not gonna know which one is which. So this one is Rouge Romance, and you can see it's a little bit warmer. And then I got Rouge Affair, and this one definitely really interested me because I have definitely said in previous videos my cool tone blush collection was super lacking because for the longest time I thought I couldn't wear them, and then I started having need of them in some looks and I didn't have any. So I definitely was super excited to pick this one up. This is gonna cover my cool bases, particularly the shade in the top and then this shade in the bottom, or shades that I've been looking for. Next, I was going to get 2 shades of these, but I ended up deciding to just stick it out for now and just get one, and if I like it, I can go back and get more since these are permanent. This is the loose blush that she released. Now, as you guys know, this is one of my holy grail loose powders. So when I heard she's releasing these in loose form, I know a lot of people definitely are not super big fans of loose blushes. I don't really mind personally. I was just so excited. I initially was gonna buy 2, but then I just was like, well, just get one for now because Givenchy is releasing loose blushes. They're already out in Europe and I'm hoping they come to America like, you know, next year or something maybe. And then I'm planning on buying 1 or 2 of those, so I didn't want to shade overlap with these, although I think the finishes are going to be completely different, so we'll see. So I'm going to get those first and then I'll come back and revisit these. But I got Loverboy, which is kind of like the more orangey one because I figured that would be a little more unique. And then lastly, because you guys know I have such a love-hate relationship with cream blushes, but this cream to powder not dewy idea that she was positing super caught my attention. She was like, it's not, when she said it's cream to powder, so it's more matte, I definitely was like, oh, I really want to try this. This might be something I can use. So again, I only got 1 shade, and if I like it, I'll go back and get more. And the shade I got is called Empress, and you can see it is a pink, so not a shade I already have. I was gonna get the orange, but I was like, I'm already getting the orange loose blush. I definitely have orange blushes, so I just got this one in a shade I don't quite have yet, so we're gonna swatch this one too. I'm not really gonna arm swatch any of these because I really honestly hate digging my fingers into these pans. I feel like my fingers are so disgusting, so I'm just gonna be cheek swatching them, and then that way I feel like you guys are gonna get a more useful swatch anyway, since it's not like you're wearing blush on your arm, you're gonna be wearing it on your face. So to start off with, the shade that I'm filming in this take is gonna be the loose blush that I'm using with this look. I thought it would work really well because the look is more warm, so this will work. I do have bronzer on. I put on a very light, almost cool toned bronzer contour kind of shade. So that's what's on my face right now, but I have nothing else except for like my foundation, concealer, powder. So I'm gonna just pour some out into the cap. And I don't know how pigmented this is going to be, so we'll see. I am gonna be using one of these kinds of brushes for like basically every single swatch. It is a synthetic angled brush from Luxie, one of my favorite blush tools to use. I was gonna use like a Sonia G brush or something for the cheek swatches, but most of you don't have Fude brushes, and I thought it might not be fair to show performance using Fude, and it might be more accurate and useful to you guys who might want to purchase from her if I use a synthetic brush. Try our best to not be too crazy, and we're just gonna, ooh. So you can see it's diffusing really well, and it leaves behind a very glowy finish, but there's not actually like glitters in it or anything. It's not like a ColourPop blush, satin blush, which just is like matte but with glitter in it. And you can see it's diffusing out really well, and I'm just spreading it widely across my face, and there you can see it right now like this. I'm gonna put just the tiniest bit more kind of on the top, connect it to the bronzer. That's what it looks like. So you can see no blush and blush, and here's the finish. Has just this really nice glow to it. It is definitely has pigment. Has quite a bit of pigment to it. Not as much as I expect her powder blushes to have, and I personally, for me, it's very manageable. I put very little on the cap, and I feel like I'm not overwhelmed. I didn't put too much on, not for me anyways. I think this is really nice. I find the pigmentation to be great. I definitely like that it's less pigmented since it is loose, so I think this is really good. And you can see that it just diffuses with like no effort onto my cheeks. And you can see the glow that's left behind. Alright, so that is the loose blush, and it looks really pretty. And that is it for this cheek swatch. So in a few seconds you'll see me again, probably with a completely different look on my face, and we'll be swatching some more. Hi everyone! So I'm back for another cheek swatch. Today we're gonna be using and cheek swatching this blush stick here. It is the Cream to Powder blush stick in the shade Empress. So as you can see, it is a very nice pink, and I think it'll suit the look because, you know, my look is super blue-green. Today I just have foundation and concealer on my face, and like I haven't even put setting powder on yet because I knew I was going to use this. So we'll see what it looks like this time with absolutely no bronzer, and hopefully that'll help you guys kind of really see the true color and performance. So I've been seeing some people, they like will just put it on their cheeks, and I've seen other people use a brush or a sponge. So I think I'm gonna kind of try maybe seeing if I can use my finger first. So it comes off really well onto the finger, and we'll see if I can apply some. So it definitely seems to diffuse pretty well, but it definitely applied on really pigmented at the start, which scared me a little bit. So I was like, oh no. Okay, so that's what it's looking like after just that one little tap, and I literally just like kind of touched my finger on it really lightly, and like it feels so creamy on the stick, like it should be a dewy blush, but once I lay it down it definitely starts becoming much less dewy. So that's kind of a very, very light layer. Now I'm going to see what happens if I use a brush. So I have this little brush here. This is a little bit less dense and a little bit more fluffy. I'm gonna kind of run the brush very carefully over it, and I'm gonna see if the brush can. And you can see that I actually can get a really beautiful application out of that without it being overpowering. You can see the difference, it's really pretty. I'm gonna keep using the brush on the other side. I wanted to try it with a sponge, but I'm like afraid of over applying it since I'm trying to keep the application so light, so we're just gonna keep using the brush. Using the finger definitely works, but I felt like my finger can only cover so much surface area. I don't really know, like I just sometimes get really impatient. And then just a little bit kind of out here, make sure everything looks good. And that's what my cheeks are looking like now. Super, super pretty. And like I barely even scratched the top, so I definitely feel like this is gonna obviously last like forever. But that's what the cheeks are looking like, and this is the shade Empress in the blush stick, and it doesn't feel sticky at all. It did not take off my foundation either, which is a great sign. Now granted, I actually remembered to not use setting powder this time, so I'm sure that that helped, but I will definitely try over powder later, kind of probably off camera, but this is definitely a super good sign. And I definitely really like how this is performing. So like this is definitely a stick blush I think I can finally get along with. So the next upcoming clips are going to be me swatching a bunch of the shades in the blush palettes. I think we'll just go with Pretty Posh, which is right here. It's this middle one. For this one I have nothing on, no bronzer, no contour. Just my cheeks. I took a little bit of a heavier handed dip for this just because I want the blush to kind of fit with the cotton candy theme, so we're kind of using a little bit more blush than usual. And this is kind of the most neutral blush in this palette, which I think is great to have because it's a mostly warm palette, but if this is the only palette you had, you definitely would want to still sometimes have a slightly more neutral option in there. And you can kind of see it's really not taking me much work. And then I just want it to be some more intense pigmentation overall, so now I'm going to add that second layer. And there we go. That's the cheek swatch for Pretty Posh. For this next swatch, I'm going to be swatching then this swatch up here. So this is called Tea Room, and we're going to swatch this on the cheeks. This time I have the Westman Atelier Contour Stick and Biscuit very lightly applied much earlier. Shouldn't affect our swatch too much. Of course my face is set with setting powder. This is like very similar in shade to the loose blush that I swatched earlier. That's just one pass, really pretty. And this is with a very light hand, so I'm sure you can imagine just how orange this could get. If I added another pass just in the center, then I can almost get like a watercolor effect just by adding it just right in the center. And that's what that looks like. It almost has a pastel feeling to it when you apply it this lightly. And the reason my skin is still more on the shinier side is just because I have such like a hydrating base on, blah blah blah. But yeah, this is what it looks like. It's definitely super, super pretty. So hope you guys found this cheek swatch helpful, and we'll move on to the next one. We are continuing with the Rouge Romance palette. Today's look is more kind of purple and pink with flashes of mint and orange. So I personally feel like to match the outer accent, I can use the shade Boudoir, and I can use this pretty lightly. I don't have any contour or bronzers. I am using a clean Luxie Pro Tools synthetic angled brush. I kind of want this blush to merge into my eyeshadow a little bit, like kind of blend into that orange that's kind of blossoming out from my lower lash line. It is going to be a little bit on the heavier side today since this is such a floral look. I kind of want everything to just be really exaggerated today. As you can see, I put on quite a bit, but it's spreading out really well. It's not sticking anywhere. I did set my face beforehand, and you can see that even though the blush is matte, it doesn't take away the natural shine that was present. So you can see I have a bit of a glow still left on my skin, and none of that was removed by putting the blush on. So it's matte in that it won't add any shine that wasn't already there, but it won't take away any shine that was already there. So this is honestly for me like my perfect matte formula. You can see that I was able to take that one little application and I could diffuse it pretty much all the way across my cheek. There's a little bit I need to just kind of put on right up here, kind of wrapping up the corner of my face, but honestly that's it. And there you go. This is such a beautiful color. I honestly am so pleased so far because I had been thinking to myself, girl, if you get these blush palettes, you cannot buy any more powder blush. I feel so set now, and it makes me really happy that I have these. So there is a cheek swatch of Boudoir. It's very pink, but it definitely has that warm pink undertone. So you can see it matches with my orange eyeshadow really nicely. And we'll move on to the next swatch. I think I'm gonna go ahead and swatch. I'm gonna swatch the shade Tempting, which is over here. I think this will go pretty well. And as usual, I'm just using a Luxie brush. I don't have any bronzer or contour on this time. And the eyes are really heavy, so that means that if I keep the blush too light, it will kind of disappear, like it won't look like it's actually showing up. So I am free to kind of just lay it on. Alright, and that is the shade Tempting on both cheeks. And that's what it looks like. Today I figured because of the look that I would first cheek swatching this color here. This is called Fancy Pants, and it is, you can see what it looks like in the pan. I will not be using a super heavy hand for this swatch. I am still going to be using a loose brush. I've heard these are pretty pigmented, so I dipped it once and I got this much off, so we're just gonna start working. And you can see already I am getting that amount of pigmentation out of that dip. I already powdered my whole face because I knew I was going to be using these, and I have no bronzer or contour. So that's just one little dip. As you guys know, I like to place my blush pretty high up on my face. Definitely adds quite a bit of warmth to my face. Blending it down. So now you can see that it has been applied on one side of my face, and it looks like this. It was pretty easy for me to apply, I feel like, and honestly I didn't have the hardest time controlling the amount of pigment I wanted. I was using a loose brush and I dipped very lightly, and I feel like I got a really good result out of that. Alright, so that's both cheeks done, and this is the shade Fancy Pants on both sides of my face. And we'll move on to the next swatch. Okay, so the next shade we're gonna swatch, and please ignore this eyelash. It just didn't want to stick. I don't really like House of Lash lashes, as I have found out, which is a shame because I have a ton I need to use, but these are not doing it for me. But now we're going to swatch the Ever After, which is this shade here. I'm not so sure how well it's gonna go with this eye look. I thought maybe the warmer tones and kind of the forest theme going on might work with this, kind of like maybe this will make it feel more like floral or something. This is definitely one of those shades where I'm gonna try and be a little bit more careful with the application. But I think for the sake of this cheek swatch, I am gonna go a little more heavy because if I sheer it out too much, then compared to the other swatches, it is gonna look basically identical to every other shade in this palette, and that wouldn't really be like a fair assessment of how the shade performs. Like, it wouldn't give good information for you guys. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I'm going to apply it about this heavy to my cheeks, and then I'll build it up right underneath my eyes, and then that way you guys can see what it looks like at its full intensity without me like looking like a clown. Now I'm gonna take it on like the very tip of the brush, and we're just gonna put that right by the eyeshadow. I saw Robert Welsh mention he had a TikTok about this. Now I still haven't gotten to TikTok yet, so he said this was like an 80s thing. I don't know, I actually got this out of like the Japanese trends, so he was like, this is so 80s, and I was like, oh, to me it just feels like an Asian beauty trend. So I'm just really amping it up right below my eyes, and I'm just letting the rest of the cheeks be sheer. Alright, so here you can see how it just kind of blooms underneath my eye, but then it becomes very sheer on my actual cheek. That's what it looks like. It actually complements the look really well. I've been really into like botanical inspired looks recently for some reason. Alright, now we're gonna start working it under the eyes, like on the other side of the face. Alright, and that is what Ever After looks like swatched on the cheeks. It actually looks really good with this look. Kind of makes me look like a fairy or something, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, next blush swatch. I have powdered my face and I don't have anything on, so we're just gonna swatch the next color. So with the hot pink that I have going on in the inner corner, I think swatching this shade here, which is called Dainty, will work the best. And this look is a little bit more colorful, obviously, but it kind of is a little bit more bright and like kind of cheery, so I'm gonna put the blush more on the center of my cheeks and kind of see if I can kind of make myself look a little bit more maybe like youthful, I suppose. But I'm not really concentrating it in the outer portion of my face. I'm gonna keep it concentrated kind of right on the apples, and then I'm just gonna dab a little bit more right in the center. Kind of like that. Definitely closer to the center of my face. And of course I do like pretty intense blush, so that is going to be the shade Dainty. Definitely adds. And then I'm gonna finish the look off with some bronzers, but this is the cheek swatch of Dainty. Hey guys, so ignore my eyes. I tried to put on House of Lashes lashes, and for some reason when I put them on, the lashes just wanted to point straight up at the sky, so I've been like pushing them down for like 20 minutes now and they won't go down, so I just have hairy eyes and there's not really much I can do. Like, honestly, this looks absolutely ridiculous. I'm never buying House of Lashes ever again. But anyways, regardless, let us just continue with the cheek swatches. The show must go on. So my look today is a little bit more mauve-y, so I thought I would kind of just go ahead and get this intense blush done. So this is the shade Living Lavish. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this. I'm gonna sacrifice the look because the lashes are ruined anyways, and I'm going to put it on pretty heavily because I want you guys to see what the true color is. So just using the same brush, and we're gonna go in. I have powdered my face. I used the Urban Decay powder foundation because it is just so humid these days, and we're just gonna put that on. You definitely can apply it sheer, and then it kind of feels more like a cherry blush, like a red blush, which is really pretty. So you can see how sheer I can make it. And of course over powder it blends out really well, but we're gonna kind of amp it up. I don't have any bronzer on, so it'll just be the blush. Alright, and that is the cheek swatch of Living Lavish. Definitely really pretty. I'm going to be swatching French Kiss. I have the Patrick Ta bronzer and contour duo. I have the contour cream on under the powder, so my cheeks are a little bit sculpted, but other than that I don't have anything else. Flexi brush, and this seems like a pretty, yeah, this is going to be a nice soft pink, so I'm not going to have to control the application as much. This is such a beautiful neutral pink shade. Definitely something I didn't have in my collection. Really looks good on my skin tone. Really pretty. Hope you enjoyed this swatch. Okay, so next swatch. So I I had the worst time with this eyeshadow. I wasn't expecting the amount of fallout I got, so if you see any like blue along this area of my cheek, that is because I just have a ton of eyeshadow fallout, but we're just gonna ignore that and move on. So because my look is so blue, a cool toned blush is definitely gonna fit the mood, and I thought it would be really fun to try pairing this blue look with the shade Forever right here. This is one of the more intense shades in this palette. Definitely we should give this a shot and see what happens. I don't have anything on my face except for like my base and my powder and stuff. However, I did have to go back over my powdered base with concealer to cover up how bad the fallout was. So if there is any issues with blending, I am going to probably go ahead and pin it on the fact that my base is really messy, definitely a lot more layers than normal because of my eyeshadow kind of mishaps, but we'll see what happens. I kind of want this blush to be pretty intense, and I think it'll be fun to kind of connect it to the eyeshadow. I have like a pink inner corner kind of thing going on the lower lash line, so it would be fun to kind of mirror that and just kind of keep the blush tight and close to my eyes. So you can see the color is definitely pretty strong given how intense it looks in the pan, and I'm just gonna push it right up against the eyeshadow. I've been doing this placement a lot recently. I stopped doing it for a while, but honestly I started doing it again and I was like, why did I ever stop? Because this is definitely one of the more flattering ways for me to wear blush. And I'm also just gonna go ahead and use this blush as a way to kind of cover up all that blue fallout so that instead you just kind of see blush and you won't see all these like flecks of blue just like sitting on my face. I'm also gonna go ahead and kind of blend it all the way up to the back of my head as well so it doesn't look so abrupt. And then I just need to blend out the edge over here. Alright, so that is what Forever looks like. I am definitely going to go ahead and use a lighter color blush to blend this out for my finished look, but just for now, this is the cheek swatch of just the shade Forever. Okay, so to go with this look, which is also very blue, but this time with purple, I think it would be really great to swatch the shade Fantasy, which is right here. This will definitely, this very baby pink will definitely match with the purple, which is a lot more red than blue. So we're just gonna go work on that. I kind of want it to just be, since the eyes are really intense, I kind of want it to just be more diffuse across the cheeks, kind of like a normal blush application, I guess. So I'm just gonna kind of spread it widely across the cheek. I don't have anything on except for my base, so no bronzer is on right now. It has kind of a level of pastel to it that makes it pretty easy to build up without overdoing it too quickly, so definitely appreciate that. Okay, and that is the shade Fantasy, just like the perfect baby pink, doll-like pink blush. Hey guys, so finally we're gonna get to the last swatch, and that is going to be the shade Admire. Now I had about like a week's gap between this swatch and the most recent one that you just saw a few seconds ago, but we're gonna get through it and this will wrap up this video finally. I hope you guys find this video helpful because I put a lot of work into it. Now this time I have Huda Beauty's Tantour on my cheekbones, so the blush Admire is definitely more on the kind of the neutral desaturated side, so I think it will go well with this look, which is pretty crazy. Although I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of my eye looks tend to have the similar kind of like structure to this. I feel like I'm getting too same. Let me know if you think so, and I'll try and like switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna apply this kind of just more in the center of my cheeks, and I can apply a pretty good amount because my eyes are so heavy. Alright, and that wraps up this cheek swatch. This is the shade Admire. And for this last swatch, I did change my lighting. I'm filming using almost exclusively natural light. I hope you guys found this video to be really helpful. I personally liked every single product I got from this collection, and I kind of want to get more shades in the sticks and the loose formula. I think that she really knocked it out of the park, which is it's such a shame that her summer collection, which released while I was working on this, more or less sucked. If her future launch launches are as similarly disappointing compared to her blush launch, which was really good, then you can go ahead and count me out of that brand. M Cosmetics is where you can go to see how to do it better, and I do hope to pick up some of the M Cosmetics products. Again, I am on a very low buy right now because my vet hospital that I've been referred to is basically trying to scam me out of my money. So while I shop around, I cannot really buy much. And in the meantime, I hope this swatch video was helpful. Please ask me if you have any questions about this collection, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!